So hi, welcome. Today I wanted to take some time to talk about myself, about my inspirations as a VTuber, some of my favorites, and go through the usual rigmarole that a lot of other streamers go through, where they do like an introduction PowerPoint, start changing layouts, but it's finally time to show this off. So, I wanted to introduce myself. First of all, this is my model in full. VRoid does have a tail limit, otherwise it would have gone up to 9 tails. But unfortunately, I can only fit 5 on the model. Interestingly enough, though, this model was primarily made using free assets. So there is a site called booth.pm where you can just find a bunch of assets, and I'll link credits after this. So basically, I had a few concepts in mind. I wanted to have like a snow winter aesthetic. I wanted to be a fox girl because I've been associated with Arctic foxes for almost a decade now at this point. And then because I am of Korean descent, I specifically homed in on the concept of a kumiho, or the Japanese equivalent of that would be a kitsune. There are differences between them in terms of mythology and everything, but I just feel like more people will recognize the term kitsune, so I am okay with that as well. I specifically wanted to base my color scheme off of the trans pride flag. So you have the blue, you have the little pink collar that kind of gives a little splash of color also. And you have the hair and the tails representing the white. So I will say the winter aesthetic does mean it leans more towards the blue side rather than the pink side, which is also part of the reason why my branding, I decided to go more overwhelmingly pink, because since my model leans more towards blue, the contrast, that's where I incorporate the pink. So next up, we have all the model credits. I have exact links in the description or in the About section on my Twitch page, but here are all the creators who made the various assets. Anything not listed here was stock within VRoid. So for example, the shoes, the ears, the tails, various other aspects that are not listed here are simply just built into VRoid, but you can also find plenty of other assets through booth.pm. Interestingly enough, I ended up having to do a lot of work on some of these. For example, getting the hair texture to fit the tail template within VRoid. So that was fun, trying to like chop up the existing image and like fitting it in the right spots to actually make the tails the colors I wanted them to be. The choker and the shirt were also like recolored. Both were black to start out, and I did end up having to ask friends to be like, hey, how do I actually like recolor these without losing texture detail? Because within VRoid, it just made it like solid blue in a way that, or like the way I was doing it was like a color invert that lost a lot of like finer detail, so I did ask friends for help with that. On this page, the only thing that is actually paid, interestingly enough, was the skirt, which is part of a winter set. It used to be free, but went up to being paid. At the time, it was only like 200 yen or something, which ended up being like $1.30. So that's basically all that I spent on this particular VRoid model. Everything else was built around assets, again, within VRoid itself or free assets. So, again, if you want to be a VTuber, it's actually very easy to get a start, because there are plenty of places with free assets for people who may not be the most like artistically inclined. Like, I'm not like an artist or anything. So that so many assets exist to be used is really great for people getting a start. So yeah, my name is Yuna, Yuna Lee. My pronouns are she, her. I am trans, to clarify. My 13th anniversary is the 1st of June of last year. I don't list my birthday because I traditionally don't celebrate my birthday. But That's a whole story that I do not want to get into, but in case you were wondering, my height, I kind of just estimated based on VRoid settings. This is what my model ended up being, which is actually very close to my actual height, because I'm like 5'5". This is basically like 5'5" and like change. I don't remember the exact measurements, but I also don't know my exact height, so this is very close though. I also listed a separate stat for with ears because they add a decent amount of height to my model. And the only language I know really is English. I did take a little bit of Spanish and a little bit of Japanese. Ironically, I know no Korean. So yeah, I cannot speak Korean, unfortunately. It's something I'd like to learn someday, but not anytime soon, unfortunately. Right, more about me. I like cats. I like foxes. That's a fun story. Cats used to be my favorite animal, but then I became so associated with foxes that I ended up really warming up to foxes too. So they're also one of my favorite animals. I like spending time with friends. I like hanging out on voice calls. I like playing games with friends. I like dark chocolate. I know that's like a hot take, but I do prefer dark chocolate to milk chocolate. I'm getting war flashbacks to the Splatfest from a year or two ago. I like collecting plushies. I have a lot of Pokemon. I want even more. I also want more plushes in general. Like, I have a Fox plush. I have, like, a Blahai, because of course I do. But I also want some other plushes, too. Hi, Peter. Hi, Alfie. Welcome in. Dark chocolate based. Hell yeah. Shakes the Fox. Oh, thank you, I think. Yeah, my favorite colors are blue and pink, if you could not already tell. I like video game music. That's most of what I listen to. My current favorite song on loop has been Radiant Dawn from Guilty Gear Strive, to the surprise of literally no one who has interacted with me very much. White chocolate is superior to both. I've never had white chocolate, actually, but the Splatfest dictated that white chocolate is the best. It's totally not for any other reason. But anyway, I also like K-pop. I had a huge Weep phase in high school. In college, where I just listened to, like, J-rock. Like, my overall favorite song is, the one I always go with is Your Silver Garden, from, which is the ending song of Madoka Magica Rebellion. I actually heard the song before seeing the movie, but it is one of my favorite songs of all time. Dislikes. A lot of VTubers list dislikes. I decided to be cheeky and just be like, don't worry about it. Smile. Because, like, I don't know if I want to give away my weaknesses that easily. So yeah, that was just me being a little cheeky there. Alright, this is a lot. Favorite franchises. I like Zelda a lot. I like Xenoblade a lot. My favorite game is Xenoblade 3, but there aren't that many Xenoblade games, so that's probably why, like, if we're counting a whole series, it'd be Zelda. I like most Zelda games. My favorite is Wind Waker, followed by Majora, followed by Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom pretty closely. 2D, I think I would go Link Between Worlds, then Link's Awakening, then Echoes of Wisdom. Xenoblade, it's 3, 2, 1, X, but I actually do like 1 and X. Just, I don't like them as much as 2 and 3. Mario, my favorite is Galaxy 1. I also like Odyssey, and I like Sunshine. I know Sunshine is a very, like, hit and miss game, but it is my childhood game. More on that later. I grew up in Animal Crossing too. I like all of them, but I think New Leaf is my favorite, though I do have a soft spot for Wild World and the original. Final Fantasy, I like 9, which is funny, because you'd think someone who goes by Yuna would like Final Fantasy 10 the best, and while that is my second favorite, it would be 9. So this would be like 9, 10, 6 for Final Fantasy. The only ones I'm missing are 5, 8, 11, technically parts of 14 I have finished Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward, but not anything past that. And I've also not finished 15, and I don't even own 16 yet. I don't know if I'll play 16. I'm not, like, into Game of Thrones type tone. I like Resident Evil a lot from what I've played. My favorite is 2 Remake, followed by 4 Remake, followed by Original 4. And I've not played anything from 5 onwards, except Revelations 2. Guilty Gear, unsurprisingly to everybody, I really like Guilty Gear. This is a toughie because the nostalgia pick is Accent Core. That's the one I grew up with. Specifically Accent Core plus R. However, the one I put the most time into is Strive, but the one I think is the best is Xrd Rev 2. So that is my Guilty Gear takes. In general, I do feel like all the games have different like strengths and merits, though Strive is the one I'm most into, just because it's a little bit more straightforward in some ways, and me being not the best at fighting games, I feel like I kind of have a better grasp on the mechanics of Strive versus the other two, though I do recognize that the other two are very fun. I like Pikmin a lot. I like all of them, including Hey Pikmin. This series order is difficult because I'm inclined to say my favorite is 3 Deluxe, followed by 1, then maybe 4, and then maybe 2, but I even like 2 more than most. I know 2 has a bit of a reputation, shall we say, for being very unforgiving, but I was like an 8-year-old who had plenty of free time, so I just got really used to how everything worked, and do a lot of like resetting if I lose too many Pikmin, so I never disliked 2 as much as others. But Sonic, I really like Sonic. Favorite 3Ds are probably Adventure 2, followed by Shadow Generations, followed by maybe Sonic Generations, and then like Colors. Favorite 2D is 3 and Knuckles, followed by Mania. I just kind of give it to, it might be Mania, then 3 and Knuckles. Those are kind of interchangeable. And then 2 is like the nostalgia pick, but I recognize it definitely does not actually hold up past a certain point of the game because the difficulty scales really badly. And I really like Splatoon. I played all of them a ton. Wii U not so much because I didn't have the best internet connection at the time, but I put a lot of time into 2 and 3. Favorites for this, I would probably give it to like Octo Expansion if we're counting campaigns, followed by 3's main campaign, followed by Scythe Order. Like, that's my gut impression. Anime and manga, this is kind of lumped together because a lot of these I haven't really read the manga except like Sailor Moon. I love Fruits Basket, specifically 2019. That's my favorite anime. It really resonated with me at the time of my life that I saw it. And it continues to resonate with me, to be honest. And was also the original 2000 version. It was also one of my first anime, not counting like basic ones that everyone grows up with, like Pokemon. Your Name, Kimi no Nawa, probably one of my favorite movies, like, ever. I really like it. I really like Madoka Magica, if that wasn't already clear from the earlier discussion. I like both versions of Full Metal Alchemist, though I do hand it to Brotherhood for having the better ending. But the original has the better opening because it has more time to cook. I like Angel Beats a lot. Some of my favorite music is actually from Angel Beats. And again, a very emotionally resonant ending. I really love Sailor Moon also. Specifically the manga in this case. I'm not like super crazy about the first anime, and I haven't seen enough of Crystal to judge it. I actually own I think I own season 1 of Crystal, and I've never seen it. And finally for anime, we have Kiki's Delivery Service. Currently my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, though I've only seen this, Totoro, the one about like ocean waves, I forget the full title of it, and I think that's about it. Oh yeah, I have seen Spirited Away, and it actually scared me because of a couple of scenes. You did not expect the Angel Beats ending, going in blind. Yeah, the tonal shift definitely causes it to hit quite a bit, and I do respect it for that. So next I want to talk about like overall plans for the streams. So short term, I want to just talk about my favorite games. I want to use streaming as an opportunity to show more people like my favorite games and actually like work through my feelings on them and try to explain why certain games are actually my favorite or favorites. And also, I want to work through my backlog. I have like 600 or so unfinished games. It's probably more than that by now. But I just want to use streaming as an opportunity to get through games because, frankly, I feel like my problem is there are so many games where I'm like, I'm going to save this game and play it on my own time. And that quickly became, I want to save this game for stream. So that just meant I kind of stopped playing games after a certain point. So I want to like dedicate a day or so to, or like a day of the week to just like new games. That new games to me, I should clarify, and then another day to like going through old favorites, basically, at least to start. I also want to use this opportunity to get emotes. I always see people with like really cute emotes on Twitch, and I get like jealous of like, I really want like a cute head pat emote. I want a cute like lurk emote. But I have artists in mind. It's just a matter of I do not have commissions open and also going through some stuff. But I do have a couple people in mind. One plan I had is actually to have different people do each emote. So, like, for example, I have 2 different artists at the moment in mind for these emotes. But we'll have to see how that goes. Hopefully it'll be a short-term goal. It might be a long-term goal, depending on how things go. Long term, I want to work on voice training, specifically more like voice endurance, because I feel like I'm not overly picky about my voice, to be honest. Like listening back to it, I'm just kind of used to how it sounds, and it doesn't really bother me that much. My big thing is just like I get tired from talking for long, extended periods of time, so I need to get better at like endurance. Self-confidence. Oh boy, could I use some self-confidence? So just trying to have a sense of productivity, basically, getting through different games, getting better at like carrying conversation and talking about my feelings, and just sharing my thoughts on games. Meeting people, which also goes into growing an audience, which is also not like a huge thing for me. I don't care if I'm like, if I ever get a partner or anything. But I do kind of want to use streaming at the very least to hopefully like, you know, meet people with like shared interest in games, because I think that'd be fun. But yeah, I don't really have like the most ambitious goals for streaming. It's mostly just personal stuff. Like I wanna get through more games on my own, like that I won't get through on my own time, and I just want to feel better about myself through like voice training. It also is a way to get me to get out of bed earlier if I actually have a deadline for something. So that's another thing about boosting self-confidence, is just forcing me out of bed sooner. First of all, next up we have all my channel links, Twitch, since I am going to put this on YouTube, I did include Twitch separately. I do have a main channel for like cut-up videos that tend to be a little bit shorter. And then I also have a VOD channel where I put all the VODs. The VODs are also stored on Twitch. I don't know if I'll keep doing that though, or if I'll just move the focus entirely on the VOD channel for YouTube specifically. I also only use Blue Sky for social media. I used to have Twitter. I got rid of it for extraordinarily obvious reasons. Finally, I do have a Ko-fi, or Ko-fi. I'm not entirely sure how this is said. We do have a goal going at the moment. This is a very like loose goal. If it doesn't get met, it's not a big deal. But just figured I'd toss in a goal just for the sake of trying to gain some revenue. But again, it's really not a focus. My main focus is just kind of like having fun, hanging out, and also just kind of getting my own life in order, more so than like trying to, you know, become a full-time streamer. But again, I figured I might as well get that set up nonetheless. Finally, we have some extra credits here. The intermission background, not this background, but the one on the intermission screen and the just chatting screen. For example, we have the chat box, which is based on a system called Slime 2. I actually recommend it quite a bit. I've been liking it. It's very like modular. People have different like skins for it too, which I think is a really cool feature. I might experiment with the skins more, to be fair. So that might actually change in the future, but we'll see. We have a special scene transition, which is like a snowflake one. Interestingly, this site, Akumino, is really cool also because this is also a case of a free resource that has a bunch of streamer graphics. So again, if you want to get into streaming, you can get a lot of stuff like for free. All the stuff was free except the sub badges, but these were on sale. They were like $8. Someone did donate the money. It was Transquender. So shout outs to her for sending me the money for those. But yeah, we do have sub badges, the little snowflakes. So yeah, that should be it actually. So voila. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, I guess. Is actually a valid way to end this off. But yeah, that is a quick overview of me.